He'll do great things, that boy. That's what the village people said about him. Strong, coordinated, talented, smart, and charming. The young man felt as though he could become anything he wanted. He stood tall with his shoulders back, and his blue eyes spoke of steady self-confidence held deep within him. His body was strong, built through hours of intensive sword training. After endless hours of sword practice, he began to stroll through the village back to his home. A number of girls waved to him as he walked by, and he politely waved back. Upon arriving home, he began sharpening his swords, ready for the training the next day. Suddenly, a spear appeared behind him, calling his name. The young man spun around ready to attack, only to find an incredibly plain-looking spirit floating harmlessly in the center of his room. Neither male nor female, the spirit held an entirely blank expression. The spirit spoke. The young man stood facing the spirit confrontationally. "What do you want?" he said, drawing his sword. The spirit remained completely unafraid. "Only to show you my powers. I can show you anything you can possibly imagine, for I am the spirit of seeing." The young man observed the spirit carefully. It continued to float passively in the air and seemed to pose no threat. "You can show me anything, huh? Show me the stables of further shore." The spirit blew a puff of smoke, and inside the smoke, the stables could be seen clearly. The image of the stables hung in the air for several moments before disappearing. The young man smiled. How interesting, he thought to himself. Another idea immediately came into his mind. "Show me the most beautiful girl in the world." Without a word, the spirit blew yet another puff of smoke, and in that smoke appeared the most beautiful woman the young man had ever seen. Her long, dark hair lay delicately over her pretty head. She had big, piercing brown eyes, a delicate nose, and plump lips. The young man's pupils dilated as he stared at the girl in wonder for a full 5 minutes. Remembering where he was, he cleared his throat and composed himself once again. While he felt slightly embarrassed, the spirit maintained an empty gaze, seemingly unaffected by the young man's embarrassing display. Another idea entered the young man's mind. "Show me a great warrior," he commanded. As usual, the spirit blew yet another puff of smoke with an image of exactly what the young man had asked for. The perfect warrior stood looking into the distance, his body toned and muscular, with a stern expression on his face. The young man marveled at this great warrior, pledging to himself that he would too one day be a great warrior just like this man. The young man had had enough. "You may leave now, spirit. I have seen enough," he said dismissively as he went back to sharpening his swords. The spirit of seeing spoke without emotion. "I shall remain here in the corner of your room, ready to show you my powers on your command." The young man shrugged his shoulders in acceptance. The spirit didn't seem to mean him any harm. As the weeks went by, the young man became accustomed to the spirit in his room. He used it to see the weather of the day, what his friends were doing. After all, the spirit would show him anything he wanted. The weeks turned into months. He started leaving his sword training an hour early, and then 2 hours early, and then 3. For the spirit of seeing was far more stimulating than dull, repetitive sword training. The girls in the village waved, but the young man stopped waving back. They were plain, he said to himself. One day he would find a girl as beautiful as the ones he watched through the spirit, he thought. He began using the spirit to watch great battles. He cheered aloud as his favorite hero turned the tide of the skirmish at the very last minute, watching with eagerness, thinking that one day, soon, he would lead his own army into battle. He thought of these battles while he practiced his sword work. He even began reciting lines he had heard his favorite hero speak as he swung, and he would leave training after just a few hours to rush home and watch another great battle. A year passed, and the girls in the village had stopped waving. Some had wedded a husband. Most could be heard screaming the name of another boy in the village from the archery range each evening. Apparently, he was skilled with a bow. The young man cursed and muttered under his breath, something about real warriors not attacking from afar. He now often trained only for a few short hours, and some days he would skip training altogether. He would walk at a pace through the village to get home, uninterested in exchanging pleasantries with the village folk. He started seeking visions of desire, scenes crafted to overwhelm the senses. But the more that he watched, the less that they meant. What once captivated him felt empty, and he needed more just to feel anything. His admiration for his favorite hero had turned into jealousy. He would watch the hero defeat enemy after enemy, the gap between himself and the hero seeming to loom ever larger. He could no longer run much of a distance. His shield felt heavy. His swords no longer matched other warriors of his own age. Several more years passed. The young man had given up on becoming a hero, although he would still rewatch his favorite battles through the spirit from time to time. Still unmarried, he had become frustrated and sad. His sword lay quietly in the corner of the room, collecting dust. On the night of his 30th birthday, the middle-aged man sat alone in his room, feeling worse than he had ever felt. The clock struck 12. Suddenly, the spirit of seeing began to laugh. The man was startled. The spirit had never laughed before. In fact, it had never shown any emotion whatsoever. He looked up at the spirit who caught his gaze. Slowly, the spirit of seeing grew a wide smile. For the first time in 10 years, the spirit spoke. "My work here is done," it said in a deep voice. "What are you talking about, spirit?" The man spoke fearfully. The spirit laughed again. "I shall reveal what I have kept secret for the past 10 years. I am the ultimate concentration of evil. I am root of all the darkness in the world. I am the devil himself." The spirit spoke pridefully. The man became terrified, his mouth wide open and speechless. "A demon will attack this village tonight. A prophecy foretold that you are the one destined to defeat it, but it is I who has defeated you. And now the souls of this village are mine." The spirit spoke with a tone of utter glee. "Why wait 10 long years?" The man spoke with a shaky voice. "Why not fight me face to face the first time we met?" The spirit let out another laugh. "If I had fought you face to face, you would have conquered me. But I am cunning, and the slow drip of poison given to you through the means of endless fantasy has rendered you too weak to fight. And now this village is mine." The man could do nothing other than slowly sit down onto the bed. The torture in his mind was too much to bear. He needed something to quell the pain. "Can I see those beautiful girls just one more time?" A wide grin grew across the devil's face. "Always." So what you need to realize about that story is that most people don't need a spirit to blind them. A lot of the times, as human beings, we blind ourselves to illusions. It's one distraction, one comfort, one easy escape at a time. The story I just told you, it feels dramatic, but the truth is, this is how real drift happens. Most people think their life will change the moment they feel motivated, or the moment that they have some sort of understanding on some concept. But life doesn't always change from understanding. It changes from behavior. It's the habits you repeat, the routines that you follow, the impulses that you follow, and the tiny decisions you make without thinking. Those are the things that shape your future. And we always have the same exact two battles. You have comfort versus action, and then you have the wrong easy action versus the correct hard one. And when you go through these battles, and if you lose these two battles, it's not because you're weak. You lose because each small distraction feels harmless. And sometimes small comforts feel like no big deal, right? But those tiny choices become your life. Self-improvement is not a switch. It's not something that you lock into. It's not a phase. Self-improvement is a sum of all of your choices, big or small. Every action you take is a vote for the person that you will become next month, next year, the next 10 years. And the votes that matter most are not the ones that are always the biggest, but the ones that are super small, that are consistent. The ones that you barely notice. The quiet comforts. The bad habits that you pretend don't matter. and the good habits that you know you should do. Everything compounds. Your discipline, your distractions, your habits, your excuses, everything compounds. So you have to honestly ask yourself, what is that one small thing that you're doing right now that you pretend is no big deal, but you know is pulling you away from the person that you want to become? That's the leak right there. That's where your potential is leaking. That's what's draining your momentum. That's what's shaping your future more than anything else. So once you figure out what this one thing is for you, have to ask yourself, are you going to fix it now, or are you going to pretend like you'll fix it later? Because here's the thing. Do you actually believe that these small bad habits, are you okay with being the same person? Are you honestly okay with that? For example, let's say you vape right now. You're someone who vapes. No big deal, right? Not right now, like, you're healthy, you're young, your body can recover, not big of a deal. But let's say in 10 years you have kids. How would they react? How would they be affected growing up, seeing a parent hitting a pink freaking Mr. Fogg? Would you be okay with that? And here's the thing, you might say like, oh, I have 10 years to like actually quit this and stuff, but you don't. Because here's the thing, every time you hit that vape or do that one bad habit that you know you shouldn't do, it's gonna be harder and harder. Your brain is gonna be like, you're basically making the circuit in your brain that goes back to the same habit over and over again stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. So it's going to be harder to quit. So you might as well just stop that bad habit now. Your life is not going to change in one dramatic moment. It's going to change the moment that you start winning these small battles. It's one decision and one habit, one vote at a time. The rest is just repetition. You just have to repeat the good habits and stop the bad habits. That's it. And if you can do that, do the good things that will actually help you build your future and help you become the person you want to become, life can get so good after that. Don't let distractions, don't let bad habits rule your future. That's enough for this video. If you enjoyed, make sure you subscribe. And as always, see you next time. Bye-bye.
They wanna see me break. I've been too clean, no mistake. I like too real, no fake. Post got mine, no gate. Facebook back to back. My piece still packed with racks. Talk less, let checks react. Every step built off impact. Marble floors, I'm walking faith. No talk, just move with grace. You chase trends, I change space. They see calm, I see ray. They wanna see me.